Hello, my name is Ilona, and this is part 4 in my series How to Change Your Life. And this is about resistance resistance in yourself and resistance outside of yourself in your environment. When you've done the inventory in part 1, in part 2, you start seeing the energies, looking at what's going on and what you would like to change. And then in part 3, it's about feeling through things. How do you deal with it? How do you start? Where do you start? Well, in this video is when you're starting to change things, so you're starting to feel through things, you start healing things. You're going to get resistance. You're going to get resistance inside of yourself coming up, and you're going to experience most likely resistance in your environment. But first, I want to talk about the resistance inside of yourself. These patterns, these mechanisms, they started as coping mechanisms. So when you were growing up, and your parents maybe weren't paying too much attention to you, or they were not capable of really helping you, supporting you emotionally, you maybe start to adapt yourself to please other people. This is to survive. It gives you a feeling that at least if I'm just going to be, the best daughter ever or the best son ever, they're really going to love me. So this is the mechanism that kept you alive, so to speak, especially for a child, and not getting the support that you need emotionally can be very terrifying. So this is your coping mechanism that is still functioning most likely up to this day. Unless, of course, I'm sure people can change in certain things, but usually there is some thread that is very common throughout your life that you're struggling with, and you can see it in your work, you can see it in your relationships, you can see it in family. So it's very important to figure out what that pattern is. And of course, when you start working on that, your body is first of all not used to, especially not feeling through things. If you've been living like me in my head in your head at least most of the time, then it's very frightening to just start feeling things. So take your time with that. Then, of course, when you, for instance, you want to get rid of certain behavior that you have, maybe smoking or maybe eating too much or buying things, and you stop doing that. You're like, okay, I'm going to stop with that. Then, of course, there is a reason why you're doing that to begin with. So pain, fear, anger, frustration can suddenly pop up, and that can be very overwhelming. So be mild and be loving towards yourself. Just take your time in feeling through things and understanding that sometimes you can have relapses. Of course, when you dealing with very heavy addictions, get professional help. Very important. But if you're dealing with something, you'll be able to cope with, then know that you're going to be uncomfortable, especially when you're trying to change behaviors or just a different pattern. You're going to get uncomfortable. There is a reason why that pattern was there. So if you're going to take that away or change that or work with what pops up, so like I've mentioned in my video in part 3, that when you're get triggered, you now start to feel, well, what am I feeling? Maybe I'm fearful or scared or shameful or whatever it is. Feel through that. That's actually the pain that you're experiencing and that you carry with you in your energy, and that can be very, very uncomfortable. I still have that some feeling, especially shame. Shame is, let's just say it's a tough feeling to just experience and not want to get rid of that as soon as possible. And I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at surrendering and to that feeling, and just just feel it without thinking too much about it or without wallowing in it. So certain emotions can be very, very, very tough. So you are most likely going to get uncomfortable. That is part of the process. It's getting out of your comfort zone, and that pattern is your comfort zone. So it's very important to realize that that is what's going to happen. This is not something you can just push through. Some emotions, feelings will be easier than others. Some are layered and are so deep and are connected to past lifetimes that it will take quite some time to feel through it. We are being supported right now by the energies to really work with ourselves, heal ourselves. And it's very important also to trust yourself. Know that you are strong enough to handle this. You already are carrying it around. You already survived what happened that triggered things. You've in a way already lived with these emotions and feelings. So realize that you're strong enough to survive feeling it, to fully let it be. And that can be very frightening, especially if you don't like this a sense of losing control, because emotions and feelings really it's surrendering yourself. It's not like a linear process. I already explained that in my last video, that you're from A to B and then you're finished. It's really surrendering to it. But the more you do it, the more you can be relaxed with your emotions, with your feelings like shame, frustration, anger, fear. The stronger you ultimately will get, because you'll be healing it. But all these things, these resistance, this can come up from inside. So don't be discouraged. Understand that that is part of the process. And you can take 4 steps back before you can take 8 steps in front of you. So realize that you're strong enough. Be loving with yourself. Ground yourself. Take good care of yourself. Try to be the best you can be towards yourself. Start loving yourself. How would you treat someone you truly love? You don't want to hurt them. You don't want to feed them something that's not good for them. See yourself as that. You don't want to hurt yourself or, discourage yourself or judge yourself. Very important. Don't be tough on yourself in that it's not working out, I'm not getting through this, that you get angry with yourself. Be mild, be loving, but go through the process. Be uncomfortable and be ready to be uncomfortable, because it is going to get uncomfortable. If you're changing a pattern, that can be very, very uncomfortable. Then of course we have the resistance in your environment. For instance, if you are in a relationship, and just talk about a woman in a relationship with a man, it could be, different way around as well, where the man is very dominant, for instance. Of course, you have dominant females as well, but in this case, the woman wants to start, putting up boundaries, and so she's working through this. She wants to change it, so she's starting to say no. And of course the man will react. He's used to a woman that will always adapt. So suddenly there's going to be friction. He's not going to be very happy with this. So, realize that people are going to be uncomfortable around you as well. Maybe in family, maybe you have a very dominant parent, and now you're saying no to that parent because you have other things to do, and there's no room at that moment to take care of something for them. They're going to balk, so to speak. They're not going to be, friendly. So that's going to be very uncomfortable as well. But use it. Well, what does it trigger with me? Do I feel guilty because I'm not this good daughter or the good son that I want to be? What do you feel? Because that's the mechanism why you are adapting to other people. So it's very important to feel through that. Feel through frustration maybe, or feeling guilty, that you feel that you're not allowed to stand up for yourself. These are all ways into dealing with this energy and trying to change it. But it's very possible, especially when you're just starting to change things, that it will take time, of course, and people will be not very happy with you. Again, that can make you very, very uncomfortable, but deal with being uncomfortable, because it will trigger things. It will be ways to deal with your shadow side. Like I mentioned, these people are there for a reason, and they've been reacting towards you from a certain pattern. You change that pattern, they will need to find their way. And it actually can be very beautiful by changing yourself, that you give other people the opportunity to change things. But I have to say, it's also possible that you are in a toxic relationship or in toxic family relationships. In that case, when you are standing up or changing things, they can, they can show that toxic side. They can really be awful. And in that case, they are showing you what's really been going on, and that you really been, pleasing people that are just not good for you, even if they're family, even if they're a partner. In that case, if they really, maybe have narcissistic tendencies, it is really time to move away, to step away and to protect yourself. But these are like when it's really toxic, extreme toxic relationships. In that case, you need to really protect yourself. But most of the time, it's just a pattern that people are used to. And when you start changing, the other will have to change as well. And some people are more comfortable with that than others. And some people are capable of it and others aren't. But focus on yourself. When that happens, most likely, especially with if you feel like you want to please other people and they become uncomfortable with you, or they are offended or hurt, or they're feeling, they work on your guilt feelings, then it's important to focus on why you're doing this, and understanding that this is so much bigger than just you. By changing your life, changing your energy, you are also helping out humanity and your own family lines. You are sending healing energy towards your ancestors, towards your grandmother, even towards your mother, or towards your father, your grandfather, your great-great-grandfather. These family lines are being healed as well. It's like this healing energy, and they'll be able to pick that up in the energy as well and work with that, because ultimately you are not responsible for someone else. They are responsible for their feelings, their emotions. But by being yourself, you can inspire and you can send this healing energy that other people can pick up. And of course, in family lines, we're all connected. Entire humanity is connected, and we're all connected to our own ancestors, our family lines. We're all connected. So this healing energy is so important. That's why don't feel like you're being selfish, because they will make you feel that way, especially when you want to change things, more time for yourself, or start doing things for yourself. They can really, people in your environment can really work on your guilt. How dare you? You're doing this just for you. They can work on that. Then it's important to focus on yourself. See if this person is going to change or not, because if they're not and they keep doing that, then it's time to move away. But protect yourself, protect your energy, and understand that this will happen. That's the reason why you haven't done it before, because on an unconscious level, because maybe you weren't even aware about your patterns, you've tried to adapt to other people. Even if you're in a dynamic that you're always fighting with someone, and suddenly you're starting to change that, it's going to feel very uncomfortable for you, but also for the other person. There needs to be a new balance. But if it's not like a very toxic relationship, it will give the opportunity for the other person to change the relationship, to change the dynamic. Even in workplaces, you can, maybe even notice that they start acting differently towards you because you are changing your energy. So especially when you start changing this, your energy isn't grounded yet. You still have these ways in that people can on an unconscious level feel that they can still enter, maybe not respect your boundaries. It's possible that they can still feel that you're not very firm about that. So they will try that. So you'll be in a period that it's going to be very uncomfortable. If you want to change things on your work or just what you're doing, maybe you're trying to find more relaxation or just time for yourself, it can be very tough and uncomfortable for yourself, because obviously resistance can come from inside, inside yourself, but the resistance outside yourself can be just as uncomfortable. Focus on yourself. Realize that this is what we're here for, to grow spiritually. And that means stepping out of our comfort zone. And these patterns are comfort zones. We, in a way, are used to it. They are comfortable. That's why it's called the comfort zone. So if you want to change your life, focus on that. Focus, I'm going to change it. I want to be stronger, more myself, speak out when I want to, stand up for myself. Focus on that and change it. Do not be afraid that you might lose people. That's a possibility, but other people will come in that fit with you way better than the people that are there now. And you're giving people an opportunity to change as well by being inspiring, by following, yourself, your compass. But it's going to be tough, especially in that in-between period where it hasn't been grounded completely. You're still working with the energies, and you still will be facing those things outside of yourself. And of course, when you start changing things, people are not going to, it's a possibility that they're not going to be happy, but that is not up to you. Do not feel responsible for how someone else feels. That is their responsibility. If you speak from your authentic self, if you speak from a place of love and that you really want to change because you want to spiritually grow, then just follow your compass. You are not responsible for how your partner will react, how your family will react, or your colleagues will react, or other people in your surroundings. You are responsible for yourself, and you want to take this step because you want to grow, because that's what we're here for, the Great Awakening, to grow, to spiritually grow, and to start manifesting what we truly want. And then we will need to go through a very uncomfortable phase. That is just part of it. But ultimately, when you really go through it, you will become stronger, you will become more balanced, you will shine brightly, and other people will be inspired. And you'll be healing family lines, you'll be giving this healing energy so other ancestors can pick that up and feel that through them as well. You can inspire people in your environment to change, and of course, because we're all connected, you are bringing humanity on a higher level by being yourself, truly yourself. I'd like to leave it at this, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.